I'm joined by Will Harris, the Marketing Director of Nokia, who has a few minutes before he rushes off to get a boat because he's escaping from the Aurora. I presume you get things to do this afternoon then, other than hang around here. Well, you already told us we should be going home. He's been talking to the delegates today. You've pretty much been telling us about your thoughts that no longer the marketers no longer have the power to control their brands. Could you explain really your thinking about that? It seemed a bit controversial there.
So we've been spending a lot of time thinking about this, and it's a general trend that's been happening over the last 5 or 6 years. We think that control has passed from global organisations to local organisations to consumers. What this essentially means is that consumers or customers are deciding which brands they choose. That was always the same, but they're also informing people which other brands they should use, and they're defining those products for themselves. So if you take, for example, the fact that people are now broadcasters. If you've got a phone and you have access to Facebook or MySpace or Twitter, you are broadcasting to the world. And what used to be either a good news story or a bad news story about a product would sit with that one person. It now becomes something that will spread around the world. Take that coupled with the fact that people are no longer kind of prepared to take what they're given. You know, they're much more challenging as consumers than they ever were as customers. Means that if you're a brand owner now, you're facing difficult times. Someone will make a decision to buy your purchase. They won't come and ask you first. They'll probably ask someone else. And the good news and the bad news flies around the social media world like it never did before. So it's exciting. I think the thing to do, our position is, you know, it's a connected world. We're going to embrace that, and we're just going to work out how we operate in this new world, not shut our eyes and pretend it hasn't happened.
Right. And how's Nokia reacted to this then? How have you reacted?
So the first stage of this is to spot it's happening. So that sounds, it sounds slightly facile, but the first thing is to accept that consumers now control our brands. Once you've done that, and you do that by talking to them, by spending time online, by seeing what's happening, by seeing what people are buying, once you've done that, you can then work about how you try and influence their decisions. And I think we're doing fewer big set-piece campaigns, as marketing people would have called them in the old days. You know, we're not kind of rolling out a big TV campaign, a big print campaign, a big radio campaign, the whole thing joined up. We're doing fewer of those because we find they're less effective, because there's a proliferation in media. And we're doing more smaller, interesting kind of local engagements where we're trying to do as many things as we can, maybe as many as 5 or 6 a week, with consumers digitally, in order to engage them, entertain them, start streams, start conversations with them. We call it micro-marketing. It's a technique that we're, I guess, making up as we go along, and it's fascinating. It's really interesting.
Do you feel that marketers understand that yet, or do you think they're still very much living in the past?
I don't know. It's very interesting. I mean, I've just, as you said, just given a talk about this, and I think most people in the room accept it's coming. I'm not sure they accept it's there yet. And I think a lot of people were thinking, well, this is going to get to me in a couple of years' time. I'd say that if those people went and spent time trawling through the blogs and listened to what people say about their products, actually it's here already. Yeah. There don't seem to be any sectors of kind of industry that are immune to this. It's just, you know, when the advertisers own the medium, we can control the message. Now we don't know the medium, we can't control the message.
Is it no longer then a good thing to be talked about? It was always said, you know,
all publicity is good publicity. Yeah.
Yes, is that no longer the case then?
It's tough, isn't it? I mean, I think what this comes down to, if I can answer your question in a different way, is that it's going to be very difficult for bad products to get bought for any length of time. So a great example is films. If you look at all the gate receipts on movies, if you look at what was the Sacha Baron Cohen one recently, Bruno, right? So fantastic first day, fantastic second day, and it fell off a cliff. And that's because everyone walked out and said on their Twitter feeds and their Facebook pages, just been to see Bruno, I really wouldn't bother. And it just fell off a cliff Now, in the old days, it would have taken a while for that news to permeate through, and people would have kept going to see it. But now, it's not like that at all. So, is it better not to be talked about, or is it better to be talked about badly? I guess the best thing is to fix the product so everyone loves it and get talked about.
Obviously, the consumer wins then if products have more attention to spend developing products. But in terms of marketing, who wins out of this?
I think the companies that will win are the people who accept the world has changed and spend their time trying to work out how to win in the new world, rather than those who are in denial about it. I definitely think consumers win. I think you're absolutely right. I think there'll be some big brand casualties. People have been buying some brands out of habits, and I think a combination of this kind of new way of thinking and the recession means that people will be forced to reappraise their habits. Is this absolutely really necessary? Am I benefiting from having this product or service? We're just absolutely determined to be part of this new way of doing things. You know, we're lucky because we're playing in convergence, technology, and media. Our devices are the things that people are using to consume all this news. So we, you know, our little logo here sits above the news they're reading. The thing for us, we want to be at the very forefront of this stuff, and it's brilliant that, you know, the global part of Nokia are as enlightened about it as they are, because it makes my job as the local level much easier.
So what sort of engagement will you now look to do then to try and ensure that word of mouth is positive for Nokia?
The first thing is to make sure that the products, when the products are released, are as good as they can possibly be, because bad products have you know, they just spin around the world in a way you wouldn't believe. So that's the first thing, which in a way shouldn't really, well, traditionally wasn't part of marketing's remit, but actually I think increasingly it's one of those things where marketing has to have a say. And then from a more pure marketing point of view, we're going to be looking at the things that we do as a corporation, because I think that's relevant. You know, we need to do some very good, worthy things that we've never really told anyone about. And I think there's a trend now for people to buy products from companies they believe in. Certainly, some examples I used in my talk, there are companies out there who are doing interesting things. As corporations, they're doing interesting, worthy things. And that's then benefiting them on the high street where people are choosing their products. And I think that's to be encouraged. And then the final thing I think we'll do is we will just create as many interesting, probably largely digital campaigns that people will interact with, engage with, and buy and support and love and spin around the internet. So it's just an amazing time to be. I think it's the most exciting time to be in marketing, because all bets are off. We're starting from base zero. It doesn't matter if you've got £100 million or £1 million or £100,000. It's about the ideas and the thinking again from a marketing point of view, and it's about the products that you create from a corporate point of view.